A Chicago police dispatcher who was once praised by Mayor Lori Lightfoot now speaking truth to power and sounding off over the rising crime and the shortage of cops.
It's outrageous, and I'm not happy. When you say Chicago, people are afraid. It's like it's a death zone. Several of my officers who texted me, and said that they were scared. They're tired of this nonsense. They have no backing, and they're scared of being out there by themselves. This mayor does not care about Chicago police officers, period. She doesn't care about any first responders. She doesn't care about the damn city.
And the dispatcher wasn't done calling out the mayor.
At all hours of the day, there is a massive amount of crime taking place within the city of Chicago. And I mean, it's horrendous. People are being shot, killed. Our citizens deserve more backing out there and the acknowledgement that things are going on and action needs to be taken. And more importantly, our first responders, not just the police, but fire department, EMS, the dispatchers, call takers that are out here doing these wonderful jobs. They have absolutely no backing. They're being overworked. And with the shortages going on right now, it's only affecting the citizens of Chicago.
It's just so disheartening to hear this. Joey, let me go to you first, because a lot of the men and women who wear the badge that I've talked to, a lot of them were veterans as well, and they describe what it's like being in the streets of Chicago and a lot of the blue cities these days as like being in a foxhole under fire and you're calling for helicopter support and there's just nothing coming back. In your experience, when you look at these cities, is there any advice you can give these men and women who are in these situations who are basically left, their sixes are just not covered?
You know, everybody hates a bad cop. Everybody hates anybody in position of authority who would abuse it or use that even casually to talk down to someone or put them in a corner. And I hate that feeling myself. But the majority of cops, and when I say majority, I mean my belief is, my presumption when a cop walks up to me is that's not the case. And for any cop out there, veteran or not, remember why you took the job. Remember why you put the badge on. It wasn't for the pay. It obviously wasn't for the glory. It was because you felt like you could do something to make your community better. And if every single one of the cops out there that believe that and join for that reason act that way, I don't think politicians will have the opportunity to continue to undermine them because communities will support them. That's what I think.
Well said, bro. Well said. Richard, I go to you. When you hear some of the things that Mayor Lightfoot has said and practiced, when you look at, in the Democratic scheme of things, she didn't want help from the previous administration. She said that merchants and retailers need to do a better job. It's their fault that the crime rate's high. She won't speak to reporters unless they're a person of color. When you hear all these missteps and the optics of this, how hard is it as a Democrat to be able to just get behind any of this, or is this just something I'm missing?
No, I don't think you're missing anything here. I have no love lost for Mayor Lori Lightfoot of Chicago. I think that she has done a dismal job of leading the city. Not only do we have an increase in crime, but she's also failed to talk to members of the north and the south and west side of the city. She promised to be a candidate that would unite the city and deal with income inequality and deal with the disparities that exist in the south and west side of the city, and she's failed at that miserably. She failed to implement a testing and contact tracing policy, even though the Biden administration gave her over $1.8 billion in our public schools in the city of Chicago. And as a result of that, there was a school just a couple weeks ago in the city of Chicago, Jensen Elementary, that witnessed an outbreak that caused 2 mothers to die of COVID-19. And this is all happening on the mayor's watch. And she has admitted that she has failed when it comes to implementing a policy to decrease the spread of COVID-19 in her city. So shame on Mayor Lori Lightfoot, and big ups to all the people who are fighting against her on the south and west side of Chicago.
Dr. Nicole, I mean, for lack of a better term, diagnosis murder, it's up 68% in Chicago. When you hear these kind of numbers, and I kid you not, at one point someone said, yes, but attempted murder's down. I don't even know how to even tackle that. When you look at these numbers of violence and crimes, where do you think the best way for Chicago to start to turn this around?
Oh, that's right, Tyra. So COVID deaths are down 30% in Chicago, but their homicides and shootings are up 60%. And, public safety is a fundamental responsibility of the local government. And so when you see cities like Chicago that is high in crime, this is a direct failure of the elected officials and the policies being implemented. And people are starting to see that elections have consequences. So when you have a city like this, high in crime and low in health, because you have police officers, because of underfunding, that are retiring or they are quitting, expanding, this puts people in a very precarious situation, and you are going to see more violence. Perhaps President Biden, Dr. Fauci, et al. Should start focusing on this public health crisis, because this is the one that is rapidly expanding, that there is no end in sight to, and spend a little less time on COVID.
Yeah, that's a great point. Rachel, final thoughts?
Amen to that, Dr. Sapphire. More children have died of gunfire in Chicago than COVID, for sure. I'll say this was powerful because this was a dispatcher. Dispatchers get the calls, the 911 calls, and have to make the heartbreaking decisions, to send out responders. And then if there's not enough cops, they have to let those people in distress know. So this man knows what he's talking about, and that's why he's out there. And it's really powerful that he is. I lived in third world countries. My father was in the military. And when I was in those countries, there wasn't enough funding for law enforcement there, and it was rich people who were able to, have their own private security and their own, basically fortresses around their house. We're seeing that now in cities like Chicago and Los Angeles. Rich people, mitigating, basically covering their bases, their houses, with private security, and then it's the poor people who are left to deal with this crime. We are turning our country, our biggest cities, into third world countries, and it's done deliberately. It doesn't have to be this way. The funding is there. She's just choosing not to give it to law enforcement and safety.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.